Welcome to Coffee Time with us. We live in the heart of Kentucky. We are retired and also empty nesters. And we love the country life. We love our neighbors. We love our country and we honor our flag. We love the Lord and we love that He gave us the Bible for guidance. We have lots to share with you guys. So what are you all waiting on? Come join us. Before we get started today, I just want to share a beautiful sunrise. We get just as many beautiful sunrises out here as we do sunsets. And this was just one of those beautiful mornings that God had painted a lovely picture for us.
It's good.
It is good.
Coffee's good.
Hey guys, welcome to our coffee time. Welcome back. And you can see we're at a different setting today. We no longer can be out on the back deck. It's all winterized, and so we thought we would move the show inside by the warm fireplace.
Yep, we put the furniture up and covered the fire pit and took the rug up and brought up firewood.
I showed you guys that beautiful sunrise. What'd you think of that? We get some beautiful sunrises and sunsets out here.
I go out and take pictures of the sunset most every evening and send them to my sister. They are very pretty here.
So before we get started, guys, a few of you had asked a few questions, and I want to answer those first before we get into our story. One of the questions someone had put up on one of the videos and evidently took it down quicker than I could go back and read it. But it was my understanding you were asking us about our children and grandchildren. We didn't talk a whole lot about them. Now we have 5 children between us, and only 1 out of the 5 wants to be a part of this. So we honor their wishes. So we leave them out. No pictures. You will hear us talk about the children, but you're not going to see a whole lot of pictures or anything. In fact, we have a story coming up soon that involves the children and the grandchildren, but we'll share as many pictures as we can. But we honor their wishes that they don't want to be a part of this. So only 1, and that's Allie. You hear me talk about Allie quite often.
Everyone else likes to have a very private life, and we get that.
Another question was, Leah, you had asked about the weather, and I responded because you wanted to hear from us about the weather here in Kentucky. Well, the very same day that I responded to your question, we had some icy weather, and there was something like 120 minor accidents in this area, mainly in Lexington. And they said that a lot of people were just following too close or not paying attention. And we see that a lot when we go out, and I'm sure that's with all the other towns around the nation.
You all see it too. People playing with their cell phones and distracted. And
if you're wondering what I have here, it's just little notes on my iPad. I put all my notes on here, so I don't want to forget anything. So I'm looking at this for notes. One other question was Kim. Kim, you had asked what we did when we retired, what we were working at. Well, I had previously worked for Amazon.com. I worked 6 years in the facility, and then I worked 4 years as a customer service representative, and I worked from home. And that's what I retired from, and I'll let Larry tell you what he retired from.
Yeah, I worked. I had a job long and hard. Is what I worked at. Long and hard. I worked at a grocery. I took care of the produce department. Um, we sold over $6 million a year worth of produce, and that's a lot. We got a semi truck every day. I had done that for over 20 some years for that company, and I had worked for another grocery company before that, sometime before that, 4 years, and I've spent a total of about 27 years in grocery, all in produce.
Now, our story today was all about the big prize. So we're actually going to take a step back, but we got two stories for you today. One is about the big prize that I won, and the other one will be our trip to West Virginia to carry out his dad's wishes after he had passed away. So I will tell you the story, most of the story on the big prize.
It was a major prize. We thought it was from Fragile.
What's fragile?
Fragile.
Fragile.
A Christmas Story reference. Sorry about that, folks.
I'm going to go take a step back a little bit before Larry and I had met, because this leads up to the big prize. So I have my notes here that I want to share with you. You have already heard that I worked a lot of jobs when Larry and I met. I worked one full-time and two part-time jobs, so I worked a lot. And this was all before I met Larry, and I drove a 1995 Toyota Corolla, and the thing had a lot of miles on it. And one day I'm driving home from work and my car starts to sputter, and I'm thinking, Lord, I can't afford another car. I just can't afford another vehicle, but I can't afford not to have a vehicle. So, my heart and my prayers was going up to the Lord that, things were just pretty rough. At that time, working all the jobs and being a single mom, I think within one summer, I had my vacuum cleaner blew up. I mean, it literally just blew up, a puff of smoke in my house. I broke my little toe. The belt broke on my lawnmower, the pulley belt. So I'm out there, with a broken toe, trying to mow the yard, and the pulley doesn't pull the lawnmower anymore. So things were looking pretty grim. Also, I was so stressed at one point that I lost my voice for 2 weeks. Literally just whispers is all I could do. And on top of all of that, I have a man come knock on my door and said, "Ma'am, I've got to shut your water off. There's a broken line from my house to the road, and they got to shut my water off." And I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? So I had to find somebody, a friend, that came and dug up the yard, found out where the water line was broke, and come to find out, the neighbor who backed up his truck just a little bit past the property line, but what he was doing, he had gravel around this meter. And as he backed in every day and drove out of the driveway, he was hitting that water main meter, and they actually have this protective cover over the pipe, but where he was driving over it with the heavy weight, it had actually crushed the pipe. So come to find out, it was actually his fault but it was on the property line, so I had to take care of it. So it really didn't cost as much as somebody else would charge having a friend do it, but it was still a lot of money for a single mom. Let's go back to the time my car sputtering on my way home, and I'm thinking, I just don't know what I'm going to do. And this same day, I go and check my mail. When I checked my mail, I had some letter in there from Myers. And I actually thought it was just junk mail, but I thought I would open it because Myers is the company that Larry had just started working 4 days after our first date. So I didn't think it was junk and throw it away, and I opened it and I read it, and it said, "Congratulations, you have just won a brand new Jeep Liberty." Well, that was a little shocking. Now, let's go back a little bit because I have to say that during the time of all of this stuff happening, I just felt like I was sort of scraping the bottom of the bucket. The only thing I could do was look up to the Lord and say, "Lord, this is in your hands. I can't do it anymore. This is, you know, help." Yes, help. And he did, and the Lord did. The Lord did help.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt for a minute. When she had gotten this letter and she won the Jeep, that day she's calling me on the phone and we're talking, chit-chatting, just talking about the day and everything. We had had a date and we'd been talking, and we were going to go out some more together, and liked each other. So anyway, she's telling me about this Jeep that she had won, and she's just real casual about it, and da 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 da, and I won a Jeep, and da 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 da, and I just, hey, wait a minute, what, you what? I was more excited about it for her, and then what she says to me is, well, I just wanted to see if you were listening to me.
Ask, do you have to pay for it? Free really isn't free, but the Jeep itself then was valued at $23,000. And yes, I did have to report that as tax, income tax at $23,000. I did have to pay for the fees, license, and tag for it, and all that kind of stuff. But it was still well worth it. I wound up driving the Jeep for 15 years, and Allie wound up driving it to high school because during those years I was working from home, and she would drive it to her high school, and she learned how to get her license in that Jeep. So it was truly a blessing. Our next story is our trip to West Virginia shortly after his dad had passed away. His dad had some wishes, so I'm going to listen for a while, and Larry's going to tell you all about that trip.
Well, my dad, he was cremated, and he wanted his ashes to be taken to the old homestead where he grew up, and my grandmother still lived there until she passed away in the 80s. But it was still in the family. He wanted his ashes to be taken every morning before they would go to school. They had to go to the top of the mountain. And if you've ever been to West Virginia, that's it. It's mountains and valleys, and that's it. He wanted his ashes to be taken to the top of the mountain where they went every morning, him and his sisters and his dad, to do farm work before school. And they could never skip out on school or anything like that because my grandfather was the school teacher. So we went to West Virginia, and we stayed close to the interstate. The last little bit, I wanted to take my dad, his remains, on my motorcycle to the homestead. It's about 20, 25 miles. Because he had always liked motorcycles his life, and he and I, as adults, or when I became an adult, um, we rode together sometimes later in life. So I thought it would be fitting to take him the last little bit of the trip on the motorcycle.
I'm gonna break in a minute. Sometimes when we would travel and we thought we might run into rain, we would take the Jeep and the trailer, put the motorcycle on it, park it, and then take off on the motorcycle. We did that a lot, and that was one of those trips. You'll see the picture of the Jeep and the trailer and the motorcycle on it. So we did that quite often.
We're getting ready to go to the home place, and I got the motorcycle off the trailer and everything's ready, and we put our helmets on and all that. We're getting ready to go, and Rebecca stops, turns to me, hands me the box with the remains of my dad, and says, "Don't forget your dad." And when she said that, she about died. She just, I didn't mean anything bad. But I found it extremely amusing. And my dad, he would have found that funny as heck too. Um, I've shared that with my sisters, and I think I shared that with my mom too. Um, it was just a funny in the moment. When we got there to the home place, um, there was a big tall mountain behind the house, and we couldn't ride the motorcycle up it. It's gas well mineral right road with big gravel the size of my coffee cup here. Um, so we had to walk it,
Hike.
and we went up nonstop. And I remember as being a kid, it was a big mountain, and you stopped a few times along the way, but I was very intent on carrying out my dad's wishes.
When we got to the top of the mountain, I only went so far, and he knew what area he wanted to go to, but that was one of the hardest things that I had to watch and witness in my life, and that was uh, that was pretty hard on him, pretty hard on me. He wanted to carry out his dad's wishes, and that he did. But yes, it was quite a hike up there.
I felt like it was very respectful that Rebecca waited at the edge of the field, the clearing, and I walked to a certain area, and then I made my way back to where she was, scattering out his remains according to what he wanted.
And these are just a few pictures that Larry took of the field up there on the mountaintop. And that very day, we took some photos.
And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I felt honored that my dad wanted me to do it for him, and I promised him I would. He just wanted a very private do this for me, and so I did. We were very close as I became an adult, and just a real special bond.
Well, we hope you guys enjoy these coffee time stories. These are real life uh, events in our life. We have lots more adventures to share with you guys if you want to chime in and listen. But we'll share as many as we can. Sometimes we have to follow back and step back and something that we remember just like today. And we'll try to give it to you in stories as it happened. And we've got a lot more adventures to share with you guys.
You are going to love the next one. It's a Christmas related story, and you got to come back for that one. It's really good.
Yeah, we want to share that with you guys too. All right, guys, until our next video, we hope that you have a blessed week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.